Hello, hello, Jessica here with another layout. Today I am sharing a layout for Series 12 of Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches, and today is my sketch. It's day 4 today, and I have designed this sketch with something kind of in mind, but you know, I went a totally different direction whenever I started this. So originally I had planned to just cut some paper strips and distress them in kind of a sunburst design to go along with my sketch. And I was going to use 3 rays on each side of the kind of like top and bottom of my circles. And I do something completely different. I kind of have an idea. And when I started this layout, I was thinking something would look really cool with this stencil. So that's where I went with it. So I decided to cut some pattern papers from my small paper pad and a scrap of a Vicki Boutin paper. Actually, I think it was a full 12 by 12 that I had to cut down, but I sacrificed a full sheet just so I could have those beautiful pink squares or beautiful pink squared patterned paper and cut it into a circle, if that makes any sense at all. So I used my nested Echo Park dies to cut those into circles, and then I matted them, kind of leaving my photos and matting them towards that one edge there, if that makes any sense. I kind of wanted them to touch or connect in the center there, so I left them all layered kind of closely to that side. And then I've popped them up with some foam adhesive from Thermoweb, and then I'm using some of their pixie tape here to tape off my stencil because I don't want to use the whole stencil. I just want a section of it on both the top and bottom to kind of follow my design. So I'm just going to tape off what I don't want to get any distress ink on. So I've pulled out a couple distress oxides in mustard seed and picked raspberry. So I put the picked raspberry color in the middle because that is the color of my circle that's right there. So I wanted it to match. And then I just kind of blend the yellow in with it so that it kind of turns that orangey pretty color in the middle. And then I'm going to move it down over here and tape it down again and do the same thing here. So I'm not too worried about my distress oxides touching or blending. I know some people have mentioned some problems with their oxides or their inks if you blend them together and get them contaminated, but I have never had any issues myself. So I just do my own thing and hope it works out for the best. So I am going to pull out some washi tape. I try to use this on my layouts as much as I remember to, and I like to just add it on the sides or kind of around my photos sometimes. So this just gives me a little, a nice little enhancement to the sides. I was going to do some paper tearing, and that's what I actually had in my sketch. It's very light. I'm actually excited to see if anyone else notices that it's actually on the sketch because it's light grayish color. With some torn edges on the sketch, so I'm excited to see if anyone actually notices that it's there and does that. But I was intending to rip the edges and put some patterned paper behind it, but then I just really liked the look of that washi tape, so I just stuck that there. And then I'm going to do some stamping on that later too. So here I'm going to just use some easy tear tape from Thermoweb also. I'm on their design team too. I'm sure you guys know that by now. So I use a lot of their products. So I love this easy tear tape. It's just like it says, it's easy tear. You literally just place it down and tear it and peel the backing off. And it is super, super sticky. So you have to make sure that wherever you're putting it is where you want it to be, because it will literally tear up your paper if you try to rip it back off. Trust me, I know, I learned the hard way. I'm pulling out some Bella Boulevard Florence Alphas here. As you can see, I have lots of sheets of the black letters because I go through the black letters like crazy, but I still save them. Look at my top one. It is almost all used up, and I just make sure that I use that one. I go kind of in order through my sheets to make sure that I'm using all the letters up. And it looks like the most letters that I use are A's and E's because I have to go back several sheets before I get to any A's, E's, C's, and D's. So basically like the whole beginning of the alphabet is what I use the most. And T's, oddly enough. I use a lot of T's too. So my title here is going to be Tough Guys Wear Pink, because my little guy here, he was actually riding on this pink four-wheeler at his cousin's birthday party, and it was her four-wheeler, but she let him ride it, and he drives it pretty darn good. So he was pretty young at this age. This was 2021, so he was born in 18, so 19, 20, 21. He would have been, what, almost 3, I guess. So yeah, I think that's right. But his birthday's in August, so he would have been real close to that. But he drove this four-wheeler around her party, and he just loved it and had a field day with it. And yeah, so he did not mind that it was pink at all. So I thought that was pretty appropriate for my title, Guys Wear Pink. And I'm holding my little girl right now. She just finished eating, so she's coughing a little bit. Yeah, so I'm just going to continue building this layout. I've done a little bit of stamping there, as you saw, with those little plus signs. Those are from Elle's Studio Thankful stamp set. And then I am using, I guess I didn't mention it earlier, Vicki Boutin's Where to Next collection. That's where I got my pattern papers. That's where I got my little binder clip embellishment. And here I'm trying to decide which stars I want to use in the background. I want to put some stars on here like I have in my sketch. And then I decide on using a pattern paper from the small paper pad in this collection and cutting out some of these beautiful Paper Rose Studio stars that are open inside, because I wanted to be able to see through the middles of them so that I could see all that background work that I did with those black splatters in Black Soot Distress Oxide and also some gold shimmer spray. I think I used the Kaisercraft Mist in gold for that one. And I'm just going to adhere these down with some Nuvo adhesive. That's one of my favorite liquid glues. I love it. Dries super clear, and I'm just going to put it just lightly. You don't need a lot of it, and I'm not too concerned if my points on my stars stick up or not. So I want a little bit of texture and dimension on those. So I'm just going to kind of focus on the middle of those stars the most and just make sure the centers are glued down good. So I'm just scattering them about my page, kind of in that diagonal design like my sketch had. My sketch didn't have it pulled out that far, and I actually went a little bit bigger with my design than I intended to based on the sketch. But you know what? That's what sketches are for. Sketches are to kind of give us inspiration and a starting point for our layout, and wherever we end up is perfectly fine. So it's just really meant to give you that beginning inspiration and just kind of get you going. So sketches are really, really great for whenever you're lacking inspiration or you're kind of in that creative rut. I know that happens to me a lot. You know, I have a pretty busy life over here, and sometimes I just get in that creative rut where I have a blank and I can't think straight, I can't focus, and that's really where I like to turn to a sketch or a scrap lift, because that just gets my inspiration flowing and gets me kind of back in my creative groove. So I'm just adding little embellishments here to fill this layout in and just add a little pop of little something all over this layout. And I am popping them up with some 3D foam squares. I'm going to drop that little geotag right there, and I'm going to add a couple little more things just to, again, just kind of fill it in. I like that little stoplight because it kind of goes with my little travel theme here, because he's riding that four-wheeler around. And I loved the little Away We Go sticker. And this one here says The Ride 5 out of 5 star review, which I thought was pretty appropriate also. And originally I was going to go with circles scattered throughout that middle instead of the stars, but I really, really liked those stars. So that's really why I stuck with that star theme like my sketch had. So I know that in that collection, Vicki Boutin has a pattern paper with some circles on them that you can kind of cut out. And I started cutting a few of them out, but they just didn't really seem like, it didn't really go with the flow of what I was trying to do with this layout. So I stuck with the stars, and I'm glad I did. So I'm just adding a few more from the sticker sheet, and I don't know if American Crafts changed something or what, but the sticker book is actually sticky. I mean, the stickers are actually sticky. In the past, and with some of my other ones, I find that they're not really that sticky, and I had to add extra adhesive, but maybe they changed them, or maybe Vicki Boutin said, hey, make sure they actually stick, because they are really sticky, and I actually ruined one that I wanted to use on this layout because it got stuck to something else, and I tried to peel it off, and I ripped it in half. So I couldn't get the other part off, and I just shredded it, so that didn't get used on this layout, but you know what? It worked out in the end. and it's fine and it looks great. So I love how this one turned out. I loved all these little puffy hearts. These are really sticky too. I was surprised because sometimes these can vary too, and they don't seem to stick very well for me sometimes. So a lot of times I have to add extra adhesive, but these ones seemed really sticky as well. So I think we're good on these, and they should hold for quite some time. So there's my layout. I'm gonna add my date stamp here at the bottom, and then that's gonna do it for this one. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this process and seeing my how my creative flow went today. And you can play along with this sketch as well in the 30 Days of Sketches Facebook group, which I will link below for you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.